Hello, my name is Schiffli. Today is September 19th, 2023, and I am here to talk to you about my latest internship in construction and engineering. But before I get into that, here's a little bit more about me. I'm currently a sophomore from LaGrange, Indiana, studying construction and engineering management at Purdue University. The way that I experienced my internship was in a way that's different from the normal path that CEM students take with their internships. Instead of having one internship the summer following my freshman year in college, I had two internships throughout high school that counted towards that summer internship for my major. My first internship was roughly about 12 weeks with the company DNS Builders back in my hometown. Like I said, this internship was only supposed to be roughly about 12 weeks, but I also ended up working there the following summer after my junior year. My second internship was with the LaGrange County Highway Department for also a length of roughly 12 weeks at the end of my senior year. These are the two internships that I had over the course of high school that were related to either construction or engineering that counted towards my first internship at Purdue. Like I said, my first internship was with the company DNS Builders out of LaGrange, Indiana. They are a general contracting company that partake in a variety of local projects which mainly include pole barn construction, roof remodeling, and residential building additions. They have offered commercial construction services since 1973 and have a Better Business Bureau rating of an A+. They are also a Nucor building systems dealer. The pictures below aren't necessarily projects that I was specifically involved in, but they're just there to be examples of the different projects that this company has done in the past. Now I'm going to talk about some of the things that I did while I was at DNS Builders. One of the main parts of my internship at DNS was AutoCAD. Pretty much used AutoCAD every day I was there besides few exceptions. One of the main jobs I had while I was there was doing estimates for certain projects. This was pretty much just me using AutoCAD to get the dimensions for all the projects that I was on, and then calculating all of the measurements required to do the estimates for the projects. I also got to learn about project design and how, as a commercial construction company, you need to work with the client to get the desired parts of the project included in the design so everyone ends up being happy in the end. Before I could start some of my CAD drawings, though, I would also have to do a lot of research about the project to clear up some things that I was confused about, like measurements and hidden features before I started. This was important in making sure that I didn't make a mistake on my drawings that could possibly lead to errors on site. Then I would also do miscellaneous office work here and there. The picture on the slide shows me the summer before my senior year, and if you look at the computer screen close enough, you can see that I'm doing something on AutoCAD, and I included it so that way you could see that I literally worked on it every single day. It was a major part of my internship. For my second internship, I worked with the county engineer at the LaGrange County Highway Department. The main part of this internship was traveling with the engineer to different sites around the county and evaluating certain aspects to prevent possible violations from happening and to fix any existing violations. I also got to learn a lot about how the county expects that a project is planned and the things that they look for when determining if they can approve a certain project or not. I also got to be a part of a few county department meetings where multiple things were discussed, like budgeting for the next year, upcoming county projects, and certain issues that came up across those 12 weeks that I was there with them. We would occasionally also work with the water treatment department whenever there were issues with one of the major projects going on in my county that I'm about to talk about. So like I said, one of the major projects in my county was going on when I had my internship with the engineering department, which I got lucky to experience. It was when one of the bigger power companies in my county was installing fiber internet cables just in various areas, but they were needing to dig into the ground to be able to run the internet cables through certain areas. This allowed for me to see how the engineer worked with the company to make sure that everything was going the way it was supposed to and that the plan on how to attack the rest of the installation was going good and that there weren't any issues with it. Like I said on the last slide, one of the main things that I did was travel with the engineer to certain areas in the county to inspect different sites. We also reviewed a lot of project site plans to make sure that everything required by the county was included and that everything seemed logical before it was going to be approved for construction. I also got to evaluate different aspects that affected certain roadways like culverts and potholes to see if there was any maintenance that needed to take place on the roadways to make sure that they were held up to the standard that they needed to be at. I also got to witness how the county departments met and how they decided the budget for the next year and how they planned major projects that were going on in the county. So a lot of the challenges that took place while I had my internships was number one, AutoCAD. This may come to a shock because I pretty much used it every single day that I was at my internship, but you have to remember that I was in high school and I was going in with zero experience with AutoCAD. So obviously it took a while for me to learn it, but in the end I learned it and I could do a lot more than I thought I could do, and I was grateful that I was able to experience AutoCAD, even though it was a challenge at first. And then scale drawing. Along with AutoCAD, I did not know how to do scale drawing when I first got my internship at DNS Builders. So that entire first week, it was pretty much a learning week for me, to where I got to play around with AutoCAD for that entire week, and then I also got to work with scale drawings so that way I could actually learn how to do them. And then this last challenge wasn't necessarily for me. It was more necessarily about the different companies that worked with the companies that I worked with. An example of this, the main example of this was whenever I was with the county engineer department with the REMC project. The crews that were digging into the ground hit so many different pipes that it was becoming an issue, because the county, every single time they would hit a pipe when they were digging, the county had to go out, fix it, and then pretty much yell at them for hitting it. And it was just, I feel like if there was better communication about where things were, that wouldn't have happened as much, and there would have been a lot less worry during that project. Then what I learned. The main things that I learned during my 2 internships were what goes into project planning and how you need to plan a project accordingly. I also learned a lot about AutoCAD. I went from zero experience to pretty much being able to do mostly everything that you need to do in AutoCAD in industry. At least that's what I learned. That's what I think I learned at DNS. And then I also learned about the business and government side of construction and how they relate to each other, like how a business needs to make their plans to coincide with the government restrictions and different standards that they need to be put to, so that way you are able to get your project approved and actually build your project. And that is it. I'm very grateful for my internship, and I'm thankful that I was able to learn all the things that I did, and I'm looking forward to my summer internship this year. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to me talk about my internships, and I hope you enjoyed learning about the 2 internships that I had over high school.